Welcome to a Legendarium special about the Onna-Bugeisha, the female samurai of the Japanese Empire. In this episode, we will learn about the women who fought alongside the samurai during Japan's many wars. Onna-Bugeisha, meaning woman warrior, trained in martial arts and military strategy to fight alongside samurai to defend their homes, families, and honor. The history of the Onna-Bugeisha can be traced back to Empress Jingu, who reigned during the 3rd century. According to legend, the Empress defied every social norm of her time. She is said to have been pregnant when she bound her body, donned men's clothes, and rode into battle. After the death of her husband, Emperor Chu-ai, she took the throne and personally led an invasion of Silla, modern-day Korea. Legend goes that she conquered the peninsula without shedding a drop of blood, and she continued to rule over Japan for the next 70 years until her death at the age of 100. This fantastic tale might have some basis in fact. During the 5th and 6th centuries, known as the Epoch of the Queens, a succession of powerful empresses ruled Japan. Further from the capital, Onna-Bugeisha helped to settle new lands, defend their territory, and even had a legal right to supervise lands. They trained with a weapon made specifically for women, the naginata, a versatile pole arm with a curved blade at the tip. Its length allowed the Onna-Bugeisha better balance given their smaller stature. Some also used the kaiken, a dagger traditionally used by samurai but more useful in close quarters combat. The Genpei War of 1180 through 1185, fought between the rival samurai dynasties of Minamoto and Taira, gave rise to one of the greatest Japanese women warriors. A young woman named Tomoe Gozen, with Gozen meaning lady, could supposedly perform archery, horseback riding, and use the katana. On the battlefield, she commanded the respect of her troops. In 1184, she led 300 samurai into a fierce battle against 2,000 Taira clan warriors and became one of only 5 to survive. Later that year, during the Battle of Owazu, she defeated the Musashi clan leader, decapitating him and keeping his head as a trophy. Gozen's reputation rose so high that it is said that her leader, Kiso no Yoshinaka, considered her the first true general of Japan. The end of her life, like the rest of it, is shrouded in mystery. Either she became a Buddhist nun and lived to the age of 90, or she got captured by an enemy commander and was forced to marry him, or she walked into the sea holding her commander's head after killing all his enemies. During the Kamakura period that followed the Genpei War, Hojo Masako became the first Onna-Bugeisha to enter politics as the wife of the first shogun of the Kamakura period. After the death of her husband, Masako became a Buddhist nun, the traditional fate of samurai widows, but she continued to involve herself in politics. She engineered the rise of her 2 sons, Minamoto no Yori and Minamoto no Seitomo, who became the 2nd and 3rd shoguns of the Kamakura Era, respectively. She also arranged for the passage of laws allowing women equal inheritance rights with brothers and sons. Women gained a higher status in the household, gained control of finances, kept homes, managed servants, and raised their children with proper samurai values. Hojo held such power that she became known as the nun shogun. During these years, the Onna-Bugeisha made up a large part of the samurai class. Female warriors from the hundreds of clans across Japan protected villages and opened schools to train young women in the martial arts. Unsurprisingly, Onna-Bugeisha fought often during the Warring States period of the 16th century. Remains from the site of the Battle of Senbon Matsubaru in 1580 showed 35 of 105 bodies to be female. Female ninjas, called kunoichi, served as spies and messengers. Some formed vast networks that included prostitutes, priestesses, and geisha who gathered information and disposed of enemies. During the peaceful years of the Edo period, the naginata became a status symbol and often formed part of a dowry. Warrior culture evolved into a code of conduct called bushido, meaning the way of the warrior. Samurai men became imperial bureaucrats and expected highborn women to live lives of passive obedience as dutiful wives and mothers. Forbidden from traveling or fighting, the Onna-Bugeisha found themselves facing self-sacrifice of a different kind. Now they would devote themselves wholly to instilling samurai values into their sons and daughters. Though women still trained with the naginata, they did so only for exercise and discipline, at least until Japan's forceful opening to the West. During this tumultuous time, the Onna-Bugeisha fought their final battle. During autumn 1868, the Aizu clan in northern Japan rebelled against the emperor. They overthrew the shogunate and handed power to a new emperor, the 15-year-old modernizer named Mutsuhito. After a bloody summer, imperial forces reached the gates of Wakamatsu Castle in October, besieging it with 30,000 troops. Beyond its walls, 3,000 warriors readied for a final stand. As the Aizu fought from the towers and the trenches, most women remained behind the scenes, cooking, bandaging, and extinguishing the cannonballs that pounded the castle day and night. However, Nakano Takeko, an Onna-Bugeisha, chose to face the firepower of the imperial army. Takeko led 30 women in a counterattack, felling 5 enemies with her naginata before taking a bullet to the chest. With her dying breath, Takeko asked her sister to behead her so that her body would not be taken as a trophy. Her sister buried Takeko under a tree in the courtyard of the Aizu temple, where a monument to her now stands. Meanwhile, Westerners began rewriting the history of Japanese warring culture. They overlooked the heroic quests of the Onna-Bugeisha and elevating the swaggering male samurai and emphasizing the subservience of Japanese women. And so the story of the Onna-Bugeisha would remain almost forgotten for the better part of a century until finally being revived. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe, and if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.